Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a trying new makeup full face first impressions. I am working on an update video or multiple update videos, but I'm still testing out products and I just have to keep using some before I give you my full thoughts. But today I'm going to be using the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I had a few requests and I did receive this in PR. This is a really, screams fall to me, like a neutral fall with some pops. So I do want to use this today. I also have the NARS holiday palettes. They have a bunch, but I just pulled two. These are really pretty. They're blushes and highlighter palettes. So I want to play with those. I have a new Ciate Jessica Rabbit Multi Glow. This looks really beautiful. This is like an all over glow, so we'll see how we'll use that. I have some products from LC Cosmetics. I have their translucent powder. They sent this over, as well as their Eclipse highlighter. If I can get this open, it's so pretty. So it's like that really beautiful, just like baked, I don't even know how to describe it. It's stunning. I also want to test out the Jouer Soft Focus powder on my under eyes. And then I have some tools I want to use. The LC Cosmetics sponge. This was sent over. This is like a really unique sponge, as well as my Too Faced Mr. Perfect foundation brush. I hauled this in my Sephora haul. I also have a sample of the ABH eye primer that I want to give a go, as well as these falsies from ColourPop. So I have a bunch of just random stuff. So I just want to play with it. So if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe, and let's go ahead and do our makeup. So I've got you zoomed in. I actually want to go in with this because this was sent to me and I haven't used it in such a long time. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish Original Smooth and Blur. I did already prime my skin or prep my skin with the Tatcha Dewy Cream. I'm going to use this in my pore area, essentially. I've really been loving their oil control. Ooh, okay. This feels really kind of oily. Hopefully it doesn't make me oily. It feels nice and like a gel, like an oil gel mixture. Hopefully it takes care of my pores. So I'm just gonna put this in the T-zone just because I'm afraid to put it on my chin. It feels quite oily. I don't know if maybe it's just because it's like separated because it's like brand new. It says for all skin types, and it's supposed to be lightweight and oil-free. Well, that's interesting because when I did squirt it out, it was kind of oily on my hand. I don't know if you can see. Does that look oily to you? Well, we'll see. It says it's supposed to be smoothing and blurring, but yeah, it feels, it feels oily to me, so maybe I just haven't used it in a long time. It feels more oily than silicone to me. So for foundation, I really want to kind of still play around with this Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush foundation. It is quite matte, so I'm gonna mix in a little bit of this Laura Mercier Flawless Lumiere. I remember really enjoying this, and I just wanna see what they are like together. I'm gonna use the LC Cosmetics sponge on one side of the face, and then the Too Faced Mr. Perfect on the other side. Tell me why I'm having really inappropriate thoughts with this. Like, I'm 31, but I'm actually 12 because this looks like something that is in the bedroom. Like, I'm just having dirty thoughts. Let's say that. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, where does this go? I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this foundation. I'm just going to take 2 pumps of the Charlotte Tilbury and then just 2 pumps of the Laura Mercier and kind of mix them together. And I'm going to go ahead and go in with this sponge. So I feel like this sponge is really interesting. I've never seen a sponge like this. It is pretty large. It's like quite large compared to a beauty blender. It's really soft though, and I do like that. I feel like a lot of people would probably use this side of it for their foundation. So I guess I could try that. And then I think, the point, we'll try it out, is like for your concealer. But I think it's really soft, so that is nice. I think there's really nothing worse than like a hard sponge. A lot of times you'll see companies kind of coming out with sponges, and the thing I kind of see most people saying is it's just like hitting yourself in the face with a rock. And that's not really gonna blend. So that applied nicely. It felt comfortable. It's a little bit awkward, I think, just because the shape, it has that bend in there, but when you kind of press it into the skin, you don't really feel that. So it's just innovative and interesting, but I've heard nothing but good things. It blended my foundation as a sponge should do. So next I want to go in with this Too Faced Mr. Perfect. This is the foundation brush I hauled in my last Sephora haul, and I'm just going to go ahead and try it with liquid. I think it was marketed for their powder foundation. They're Born This Way, but there's no rules in makeup and we're gonna do what we want. It's pretty dense, but I like that it's not, it doesn't seem to be sliding the product back and forth. I do think you kind of want to do stippling motions if you want to get maximum coverage. My skin seems to be a little bit irritated right now, just because I have like an cystic acne or cystic, what is it called? A cystic pimple, and I haven't had one in months. I'm not messing with it. I'm just kind of letting it be, but I did notice that. And then I have some congestion over here. I've been quite stressed. But also I did switch my hair vitamins. I was using, for the longest time I was using Nature's Valley. Was it Nature's Bounty? I don't know. It was like the hair, skin, and nails you could get at like Kroger or Target or whatever. And it had 2,500 milligrams of biotin, and I was fine on that. I went through I think a couple things of it. And then I bought this stuff from the hair salon I went to called Vitalize, and it had 5,000 milligrams, and I went through an entire month and I loved it and I didn't break out. So I couldn't get to the salon, so I was like, oh, let me try to find it online. And anyways, I didn't have them, so I thought, let me just try another brand from Kroger. So I went ahead and just got like a generic brand. It was like 12 bucks or something, and it's 5,000 milligrams. So I was like, okay, cool. But now I've been taking it for maybe 6 days, and now I have this kind of under the skin acne. So I'm kind of like, ew, do I have a booger? I apologize if you had to witness that. But yeah, I don't know if that's what's causing it or the stress or what. So I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't really want to keep taking those. And I don't think it's really the biotin itself, because like I said, I went through an entire 30-day supply of the other brand. So I went ahead and ordered the other brand offline, and I'm gonna stop taking the one I got from Kroger. Yeah, but it's kind of like, damn, I haven't had an under the skin breakout in a while. So I really don't know the culprit, but I feel like my skin is kind of textured right now and congested. I don't know the reasoning. So here's what my skin looks like. I feel like it looks good on both sides. I like both applications. I feel like I have a more smooth finish with the brush with this particular foundation, but I like this. It's very soft, like I said. So it's large and in charge, but it's really soft. So I want to go in with concealer. I used this in a Walmart video I did probably a month or two ago, and I was kind of iffy, and I've been using it more and really enjoying it. This is the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Concealer. I have the shade Light 15. I've just really been enjoying it. So I kind of feel like that's why first impressions, you know, I kind of usually stay with my thoughts, if that makes sense, but sometimes you do have to use things a couple times and you're like, oh, I actually do really like this. So I think this is a great option. I've just been enjoying it. I've been enjoying the Iconic London concealer a lot. I've been really enjoying thinner consistencies. This one's thicker than the Iconic London, but it also does offer just a little bit more coverage. So for more full glam, I've been enjoying it. So I'm gonna remember not to pull this onto my lid because I wanna use that ABH primer. I'm gonna go ahead and blend this. This is really soft, and I can see why, to get like right up in the inner corner where you have darkness. And this tip, you know, it's pointy, it looks like a weapon, but it's so soft. It's not irritating or poking me in the eye. So I wanted to ask you guys, are you guys watching, I'm assuming most of you are, the Shane Jeffree Star series? What do you guys think? I want to see what you think down below. What are your thoughts? I know people are really polarized either way. Is that the word I'm looking for? Or really passionate either way. They either love or hate both of them, or either of them, because they are, you know, they've had some controversy in the past. So we'll see what happens. But I want to move on to the ABH eye primer. So I have seen people like this, but I've also seen a lot of people say that the packaging is like squeezes out, and I've read reviews like that. This is just a sample that I got because honestly I use concealer most of the time. Really, oh, well, there it went. There it went all over me. It's as if nothing comes out and then it's like comes straight out. So I'm gonna use this setting brush from Real Techniques, and I'm just taking it off my hand. It is very light. Whoa, okay. So a little goes a long way. I'm not even gonna go into that. I'm gonna actually flip my brush over to blend this out. I prefer, if I'm gonna use one of these, I just forget because I always just do my concealer or use my concealer, but I prefer a pigmented one because I do have, you know, veins and blue eyelids. So I do like that this is pigmented. I do wonder on deeper skin tones if it would be kind of hard to, you know, look natural, if that makes sense, just because it's so light, even on me, and I'm kind of like a light medium skin tone. But maybe that was their intent. Like, I know the P. Louise base, they have different shades. But as far as I know, this is the only shade for this. So if you've used this and you're kind of deeper skin, I kind of wonder, does it work for you, or what do you think? But feels nice. It's not super tacky. Kind of seems like it kind of sets down a little bit to like almost a powder finish, if that makes sense. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, do I look like it's really bright? That's the only thing, like I said, it's just really, it might look okay once you put on like oil, but for the under eyes, I do want to go in with this Jouer powder. I picked this up. This is the Soft Focus in Fair, and I just want to use this right under my eyes, and I don't even think you need to set that. Maybe I'll set it just a little bit, but I'm going to use a Morphe Y10, and I just want to like set the creasing and kind of use this. I want to see what I think about it because I love the dark one for bronzing. So I'm going to pull this down, and I think I'm just going to set lightly the lid just because I seem to have better luck with that. So I feel like this is doing the job, but it's not necessarily like smoothing. It doesn't, I don't know. I feel like I would like this more for like a touch up. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of my By Terry powder just around my nose area because I really have enlarged pores. Like that blurred me out. Yeah, okay. I like something like this, especially because I just have a lot of texture right now. So I'm going to use this on the center of my face, my T-zone. So the Jouer I would use more so as a just touch up. So for the rest of my face, I want to go in with this translucent powder from LC Cosmetics in light medium. They sent this over, and it does have just the typical top. I actually prefer these. I know some of them have that netting, and I find those kind of hard to use. I'd rather just dump it out and use it. This Kevyn Aucoin brush, I really like this. This is the Soft Buff Powder. It's like a flat top, but it's for powder. And I'm gonna set the rest of the skin. So now that I have my brows done, I wanna go for the eyes. This is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I feel like this is a beautiful fall palette. I'm probably gonna stay pretty neutral today, but it is what it is. We're just going to try it out. I think I'm gonna start out with this shade right here. So we'll see how this, oh, that is pigmented. See how this blends over that ABH primer. I'm using a really light hand and just fluffing this into my crease. All right, so I need to know your favorite TV shows at the moment because all of my shows are off and it's driving me insane. I like, you know, Handmaid's Tale, Love Island, which I know those are like polar opposites, but I love both of those. Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, Ozark, You, Dead to Me, and it's like none of them are on, and it's driving me insane, especially going into the colder times here. I'm like, I need some Netflix to watch, and I don't know, I'm pretty picky. Some big shows a lot of people have liked, I just haven't really been into, so leave your recommendations down below, like your favorite shows to binge watch or ones that you really enjoyed. Okay, I'm looking at the palette. I'm trying to figure out where I want to go. I think I want to go in next. I think I'm going to go in here to the shade down here. And I just want to apply this to the outer corner of the eye. Some of these almost feel, or they swatch almost like, I mean, they're powders, but they almost swatch like they have a little bit of cream in them. Really creamy. Not all of them, but some of them. Like some of them look straight matte, but like this one I'm using right now, almost, I think maybe it's a satin, and it just feels like it almost has a creaminess in there. So I'm gonna bring this in. I just switched brushes. I'm gonna bring it in, and then I'm gonna use that first brush to blend any harshness. So far so good with this. I know there's like just an influx in palettes, And for every day, I mean, nobody can possibly buy every palette. I'm having a hard time even just, you know, reviewing them all for you guys. So I get it. It's interesting. You almost wonder, you know, is it the new norm that you have to kind of produce so many palettes, or you kind of just get lost in the shuffle? Like I know I think Norvina was tweeting. I think I saw like Norvina was tweeting something about, you know, to keep up in the industry, you kind of have to amp up your releases. And I get that, because certain brands I feel like fall behind because they don't do a lot. But then you have brands that I feel like people get really kind of like, they're annoyed because there's so much. So I wonder what you guys feel about that. I definitely do feel overwhelmed at times, but I think it's really more so because this is my job. If it wasn't my job, I would just buy what I want. I do understand though the pressure, whoa, excuse me, the pressure of seeing your favorite YouTubers or Instagrammers or anyone that you follow using new products, and you see a look and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful, and you want to recreate that, or you feel like, you know, you see people on TV, you know, wearing beautiful clothes or whatever, and you're like, I want that. So it, you know, it's just, this is advertising. I get it, but I just don't want you guys to feel like you need to buy anything, because you really don't. You just, my advice to you is to buy what really, really speaks to you. You know, what really you have your heart set on. And I've done a lot better lately, just not impulse buying. I used to just search like Sephora just arrived and literally just throw everything in the cart and check out. Now I will put stuff in my cart and I'll let it sit for a day, 2, 3, sometimes a week. Sometimes I'll wait for like Rakuten to be 8% cash back, depending if I need to get a video up or whatever. And I just wait. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe 5 days later, I'm like, I don't want that. I don't really need it. And then I'll just remove it. So I'm definitely doing better. But of course, I definitely shop too much. I think a lot of us are guilty of that. I don't know why my voice is cracking like this. But anyways, I just wanted to remind you guys that I'm reviewing products because that's my job, and I love it. I love makeup. There's never going to be a time when I don't get excited looking at new releases. It's just always been something that I've enjoyed. But I don't want you guys to feel a pressure like that I'm, you know, telling you buy this and buy that. You know, I can only tell you what I enjoy, what works well for me. And then as a consumer, you know, you just have to decide what you really, really see yourself using and enjoying. So now I want to go into this kind of cool tone brown down here, but it looks like a satin. So that's what I mean. There's some that are just straight matte, and then some that appear like a satin. And I'm going to use this just to deepen up a little bit more, really low on the outer corner. They feel creamy. I can't describe it, but they're blending nicely. Just feels a little bit different. I know Natasha seems to have different formulas in a lot of her palettes, and I'm not really sure why. I'm kind of confused on why some brands do that. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like ColourPop, I think that they just have their same eyeshadow formula. You know, they have their Super Shock formula and then their powder formula. But I notice other brands, bigger brands, a lot of times they switch their formulas up, and I wonder why. Like, I wonder why they, you know, don't, I guess, see a palette that really does well and stick with that and say, listen, everybody really raved about this, everybody loves it, and we're gonna stick with that. Like, it almost makes you wonder with ABH too, like the Norvinas, why were they different than her, you know, the ABH formulas? It's interesting. I'm wondering why. I don't know if it's like a cost thing, or maybe they get feedback and they think, you know, the feedback wasn't perfect and we need to change this. It's just interesting why brands decide to change formulas, especially like the IT Cosmetics brush, even the new heart one, like they changed it to a flat top and everybody's like, bring back the other one. And it's just interesting. It's like, well, why would you change that? Because it had glowing reviews, you know? And so now it's kind of like, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't quite understand. So I think I'm gonna do something different. I don't wanna do a shimmer. I think I wanna go into this shade and just put a little bit on my lid. So it's really not too different, but it just, I think just brings in a little bit more of that kind of fall warm tones. And I think there's always this pressure to do glitter or shimmer on the lid, and you just don't have to. You can do whatever you want. I am gonna go back in with this shade down here just to add some depth. So I'm going really lightly just so I can keep that depth that we applied. And then you can go back in and just kind of blend. So I went ahead and did a wing and it ended up way bigger than I thought, but that's okay. We're gonna go in with these ColourPop falsies. These are the faux mink in Mommy. So these are the most dramatic ones. They have 3, so I thought let's just go for the big dogs. So I applied those lashes and they look nice and pretty. I would say they're dramatic, but they're definitely not my most dramatic. If you're used to like Lily lashes or Huda Beauty lashes, it's kind of comparable to that. So I wanna go ahead and bronze. I'm gonna use this Bronze Please. This is the 03, I believe it's medium shade, and this is the L'Oreal bronzer. I've used this a few times, I'm still trying to gather my thoughts. It does have a sheen to it, which isn't my favorite, especially for fall, but we'll see. I do remember this being really warm, but I really don't have any new bronzers. I feel like this is definitely more of like a summer bronze. So I'm actually gonna go into Fenty Beauty Island Ting. I just wanna add some more depth. I feel like that L'Oreal was more of like a all over kind of glowy look, whereas this is matte. So for blush, I wanna go into this Hustle palette from NARS. You get 3 shades in here. So this is their holiday or one of their holiday collections. I really am drawn to this bright blush. So I'm actually gonna mix the 2 blushes just because I don't wanna go too bright. And we'll kind of sweep that on. I love this kind of texture from NARS. It's like the baked, there's like no kick up in these. So these are definitely buildable. They're not like put them in and then you get kind of like a clown look. So if you tend to go heavy with blush, you might like these. Okay, I also want to go in, I know I have a lot going on, but I also want to go in with this Jessica Rabbit Ciate. This is like an all over kind of bronzer. It's called a multi-glow. So what I'm going to do is take a clean brush and just kind of blend in circular motion so I'm getting all of the product. Tap it off, and then I'm going to lightly apply. I don't really know how I feel about this. I really like the Iconic London one. It's like the luminous powder, but it has more of a bronze. This one is really gold, and I just don't know if I'm like digging it. So we'll have to keep trying that, but I just feel like I have a lot going on. So I'm like, ooh. I want to finish off the eyes. I'm going to do something pretty simple. I think I'm just going to smoke out the lower lash line with this really cool toned color. So I just want to apply a little bit to the lower lash line. I really like this shade because it's really cool toned. I think so many times we see the really warm shades. So I'm actually going to go in with this Marc Jacobs liner in Brownie. I don't usually do a deep waterline color, but I just want to switch it up. I feel like I've been doing a lot of just the bare lower lash line. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this. And it just kind of changes up the look. Sometimes I think I don't do this because this definitely makes your eyes look smaller, but with such big lashes and a wing, I feel like I can kind of pull it off. Okay, I am gonna go into the palette into the lightest shade right here. I wanna use this as a kind of inner corner brow bone. Just kind of like that. I don't always do a brow bone, but this look is pretty simple. So for highlight, I want to use this LC Cosmetics Luna. This is freaking gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. This is like my favorite type of formula too because they're not super powdery and they're really intense. So now I'm gonna line my lips. I'm gonna use KKW Nude 2. So I want to go for like a kind of brownie fall nude. I'm going to go in with Morphe Confess. Yeah, it pretty much matches that lip liner. I think this is a Mega Matte. Okay, I think I do want to smoke this out a little bit more. I'm actually going to take that kind of yellow mustard shade. I want to mix that with this orangey shade up here, and I want to smoke this. Do you see how it changes things a little bit? Just makes it more grungy. Alright guys, here's my finished makeup look, and I feel like I'm torn. There's some things I like and some that I don't. So let's start off with the Smashbox primer. I feel like my skin looks a little bit textured. Now I said before I was having a rough skin day, so I'm gonna have to reevaluate. This felt really oily and I don't necessarily know if it filled in my pores at all. I've been loving the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer, so I'm not sure about that. And actually mixing these two foundations, I don't think it worked. When I look back at the footage on this Laura Mercier, I did a first impression on this. It looked really nice. I had to build up the coverage, but it looked really nice. And I really like this by itself, so I thought, oh, let's mix it. Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're just better separate, which is kind of weird. In terms of the tools I used, I do like the Elsie sponge. I think it's really interesting. It's really soft. I do like that you can get right up under the eye. I don't know if it's going to be like my replacement of the Beauty Blender, but I do like it and I will continue to use it. And I also do like this Mr. Perfect foundation brush. I do want to try this with powder, but it applied nicely. Nice and dense, but it didn't leave streaks and it didn't kind of move the product around. So I like this as well. As I mentioned, I've been enjoying the Maybelline Superstay, so no surprise there. I feel like it's nice for full coverage or just everyday glam. I also do like the ABH eye primer. It's a little bit harsh when you first use it, like it looks really bright and white, but it did blend my shadows nicely. I don't think you'd have to set it. It's not super tacky. It kind of dries to a powder finish. So I do like this. In terms of the Natasha Denona palette, it blended beautifully. I had no issues. Now keep in mind, I only used one shimmer on my inner corner. I really used the satin and the matte and they blended really nicely. So I'm really not surprised. I mean, Natasha Denona is pricey, but there's a reason. Her products are great. So I really love the Elsie Cosmetics highlighter. This is in Luna. I can never get this open though. It's like, I'm afraid I'm gonna rip my nails off. I know that she has a kind of gold and then this is the pink. It's just beautiful. So love this. I know I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this just because I know I like the texture. Not quite loving the Ciate Jessica Rabbit collab. I just feel like if you're a deeper skin tone, this might be gorgeous on you, but it's just a little too dark. And it's not, I don't know, I like my Iconic London Luminous Powder a lot better. This is just like a really deep gold shimmer. I don't really get the point on someone like me. This is okay, but again, I feel like this is more of a summertime bronzer. Going into fall, I'm more into the matte, maybe a little bit cooler tone bronzers, and this was really warm and shimmery. So I feel like for every day, maybe with like a light pink baby colored blush and lip, it's really beautiful, but for fall it's a little bit too shimmery. Pretty shocked that I don't actually love the lighter powder of the Jouer. It just didn't do any smoothing for me at all. It's set, but honestly, I'm kind of bummed because I really love the dark. Like the dark is so beautiful for a bronzer. This one did nothing for my texture and it looked a little dry up close. Ooh, I don't really like this. I like the dark. I love the dark for a bronzer, but for this, I don't like that. And I don't really know if I love this translucent powder from Elsie. I don't dislike it. It did the job, but again, I didn't notice any smoothing, and that's what I'm looking for. If I'm going to be using a powder to bake, I want a really smoothing effect, and I didn't notice that on either of these. And then the NARS palette, I think it's beautiful. If you have all of the NARS palettes or you already have some, you know what to expect. It's a beautiful palette, beautiful blushes, so I would just go with whatever shades, you know, speak to you. But really like this matte Morphe lipstick. I like their matte formula a lot. It feels comfortable. It's not chunking off or, you know, flaking off, but it is matte and it gives you kind of control to where it almost feels like a liquid lipstick. It's not going to smear all over your face. So overall, I'm kind of iffy. Ooh, I don't know. I feel like my skin just looks pretty rough, and I think that's maybe kind of swaying my opinion, but that's some new products. I really do like the eye look. The eye look is my favorite of everything, the eye and the lip. My skin is just a little bit off, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I just want to get back into the swing of filming things. Nala is doing better. She is day 9, no seizures, so that is great. She's just loopy with all the medication, but she's getting her personality back. We have some quirks because it makes her thirsty and hungry, so she's like peeing in the house overnight. We have to get up in the middle of the night. So it's an adjustment period, but overall, she is getting her personality back, and no seizures is a win for me. So that is the update with Nala. So I'm gonna get back into filming. I'm excited. I've missed you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though, you know, it's not always gonna be amazing. And I think sometimes I struggle watching footage back if I don't like my makeup. I feel like, oh, should I even post it? Because it's not pretty and I don't like it. But it's like, that's the whole point, is to show you products that maybe don't work for me. So let me know down below what you guys think of this look. If you want more fall looks, I'm happy to do that. I think I do want to do some fall tutorials. I'm just feeling festive. So anyways, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.